Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm going to ask you guys a favor. I want you to ignore Oreo meowing in the background. He's trying to convince you that he's starving, that we have never fed him. And the reality is that he's already had 2 cans today, and he's still continuing to meow. One of my employees, his wife, has a cat that recently, due to her falling for the cat's cries each time she would ask for food, now owns a cat that has no neck. It has a body and a face, but there's really no neck in between. And I don't want Oreo to end up like Phoebe. So he's not going to get more than 3 cans a day. That's insane. So what I'd like to discuss today is Zillow buying houses and flipping them and how it's kind of started to come to a halt because they've been paying way too much over market. And I want this to segue into an older rant that I've done on this channel on the business playlist, which is it drives me nuts when businesses, A, don't make money but continue with their model, and B, suggest that everybody else do the same because this is, quote, the new normal. So I discussed recently how housing prices going up at a rate that is just about what a lot of people in America's yearly salary is very, very depressing. So if you wanted to buy a house and you say, I'm going to save up for a down payment so I can buy this house next year, you make $50,000 a year, you save $50,000. The house may have actually gone up $75,000 to $100,000 in the year that you saved up your money, which is it's just really, really depressing to watch something like that happen year after year after year. And an interesting piece of correlated news is the fact that Zillow's, according to Slashdot, their home flipping algorithm has been outbidding buyers like crazy, is now facing the prospect of selling their homes at a loss because they paid too much for them. And this is something that for sellers has been great. I mean, for sellers, this is a beautiful piece of news for a lot of them. You have people that were, you have people that were getting offers for $504,000 on their home that got offers for $531,000 from Zillow, which is really cool. And the funny thing is they eventually had to lower the price on that house after they bought it for $531,000 to $494,000 because surprise, nobody wants to buy the house for, 10% or 15% over what it is actually worth in a standard marketplace. It says here, faced with the fastest rising real estate prices in the U.S. history, Zillow Group tweaked its algorithms that power its home flipping operations to make higher offers. It ended with so many winning bids that it had to stop making new offers on properties. Now, after buying more homes in the third quarter than it ever has before, the company is working through a backlog of houses that need to be fixed up and sold while facing an unpleasant reality. Slowing price appreciation means it will sell many homes at a loss. That amounts to about a $29,000 discount on the typical property, according to data compiled by Mike Delpret, a real estate tech strategist and scholar in residence at University of Colorado Boulder. The company blamed its decision to stop new acquisitions for the rest of the year on the labor shortages roiling the U.S. economy. So it's not that you were buying homes for 10 to 20% more than they were worth, completely screwing over home buyers that are not publicly traded corporations that have billions and billions of dollars to just toss at everything they want. No, it's the labor shortage. Prices turned on them, and they got a little flat-footed, and they were probably a little too aggressive on the bidding, said Brad Erickson, an analyst at RBC Capital. They probably don't care so much, quote, it's not as important at this stage of the game to make money. Zillow's iBuying business loses money, so stopping purchases should help its bottom line. Yes, if you're not making money doing something, stop doing it. Wedbush analyst, I can't read that, said in a note, but it's a huge negative for top-line growth and a major setback for the strategic initiative put in place over the past few years. So, quote, it's not as important at this stage of the game to make money. And this is something that drives me nuts. When people are willing to run businesses not at a profit, at a loss, and they're willing to continue losing money, not because they're charitable, not out of kindness out of the heart. It's not like I'm not making money while I'm teaching somebody at a free workshop how to solder, but rather I'm offering a service at $1 when it costs me $40 an hour to pay the employee doing it, kind of thing. What that does is it corrupts the overall market. And Zillow is not the first business to do this. You have many companies out there that sell their services for less than the actual cost of providing them, and it royally screws up the market. So one instance I remember talking about this, something like 10 years ago, was with Groupon. I did this video, Groupon and what it can do for your repair business, back when my hair was the same color as this jacket, and don't run a Groupon for your repair business. The absolute TLDR of this video is that it would drive me nuts when people thought that they needed to run a Groupon in order to get a hold on the market. So instead of build up their client base slowly, they think I need to offer a 75% discount on a service and then go through the special platform to get my customer base. The reality when you offer a 75% discount on your service is A, you're going to get a lot of people that don't care about your business's values or its ethics. They don't identify with you and want to use you because they did research and they say, I want this guy fixing my stuff. They're using you because you're cheap. They're not your customers. They're never going to come back to you. And B, you're going to screw things up when you're doing things at a 75% discount. If you're doing things at a 75% discount, you can't afford the same amount of staff. You can't afford to use good parts. You can't afford to pay your employees enough that you can actually hire people that are skilled rather than people that have no idea what the F they're doing. I'm not going to name names here, but at the time that a lot of Groupon was really popular in the area, there were two main repair shops that were doing more business than me at the time. It's, again, not more profitable business, but more business than me. They were constantly sending me things to fix where their technicians had screwed it up or slid a cable here or didn't know what they did here or blew a backlight fuse there because they were rushing, and they were rushing because they had this influx of business that they could not afford to handle properly. It corrupts the market when you have groups of people that are more than happy to lose insane amounts of money for insane periods of time. And, you know, there are a lot of companies right now that I think that are operating on, you know, a hope and a prayer, low, you know, or just dealing with borrowed money at low interest rates, or just taking their investors for a ride so that they could offer something that just fundamentally at its core doesn't make sense and doesn't work. WeWork is an excellent example of that. The company made no sense. They almost never made, never made net profit, and they were offering something that was not sustainable. And I think this is the same thing. Now, to be clear, I'm not claiming that Zillow, at its current size, is able to radically affect the real estate market. I don't think that a company of Zillow's size, even though they are a big company, is going to affect the entire United States real estate market. I don't think they have the money, the capital, or the leverage to do so. I think that the gain in housing prices is very artificially low interest rates. People in the beginning of COVID deciding, listen, if I can't enjoy what's in a city, I might as well have some space for myself. People deciding, if I can work remotely, what the hell am I doing in this small apartment in Brooklyn or New York City anymore? You have a lot of people that wanted to head out all at the same time. That is going to increase the price of housing. And you also have the increase in price of building materials, which is going to drive up the cost of new housing, which then by, you know, again, if that's going to be higher in price, that's also going to drive up the price of the existing housing. All of this combined is going to increase the price of housing. Zillow is one teeny tiny factor in that. I'm not saying that that is what is making everything insanely expensive. That being said, if this model works, and Zillow is rewarded for it, and their stock price goes up, and their market cap goes up, and they trade at higher PEs, then that's going to encourage other companies to start doing the same thing. And if you have enough companies do the exact same thing that Zillow is doing, which is pay 10 or 20% over asking because of with these algorithmic models where they automatically bid too much just to get as much inventory as they humanly can, then we may get to a point in the future where this actually does have an adverse effect on the market. Again, Zillow by itself may not do that, but Zillow and 5 or 10 or 20 other companies that all start up and say, oh, money's cheap right now, let's YOLO, let's buy everything. This is not going to be a great thing. Now, for sellers, Zillow does offer something that's kind of attractive. If you've ever sold a home before, you can understand the pain in the ass of, okay, I can't buy the new home until I have the money from selling the old home, but once I sell the old home, where do I live in the meantime? How do I arrange moving? All this nightmare. Zillow is trying to come to very, very favorable terms with sellers so that their moving process is as easy as pie. And this does offer sellers, you know, a more convenient experience than what they may experience prior to Zillow getting into this business. But for buyers that are looking at the prospect of paying 10 to 20% more for a home than they ever thought, dealing with overly tight markets as a result of them buying all of the supply, that kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. And honestly, I'm at a point where, again, I would like to buy a home sometime in my lifetime. And if I see this home is owned by Zillow, on principle, I'm offering them 15% under asking. Just being honest. On principle, whatever amount that it is, if it's a normal person, I'll, you know, go back and forth in good faith. But if it says owned by Zillow, I'm offering 10 or 15% less on principle alone. Like, again, it's not my problem that you chose to buy up as much on the market as humanly possible at above market prices. That's a you problem, not a me problem, and I'm not getting involved in that. You know, if at any point in time I'm okay with paying over asking, like I want someone near me I want Erica to just take a bucket of ice water and toss it over my head so that I can get snapped back into reality. And I don't think it's good for the economy in general to have businesses that are okay running at insane losses due to borrowed money or based on low interest rates or based on investor money flowing in, whether it is Uber, whether it is a lot of these new delivery businesses where I have no idea how they make money at all. You know, Erica is a giant fan of this company called Fridge No More. I spoke to one of the people doing deliveries. I asked him what he was getting paid. He told me, and I see the delivery minimums that they have. I see the cost of the products that they are shipping around everywhere. I have no idea how a company like this makes any net profit at all. And I'm you know, we argue about this from time to time, but I'm not a fan of these businesses. I'm a fan of businesses that make money, because when you make money, you are then able to pay real salaries to your workers. You're able to grow. You're able to do things with good quality. You can offer real customer service, real support. And, you know, I don't like this idea of promoting businesses that don't make money. I want to promote businesses that are efficient while making money. I want to promote businesses that are efficient while making money while not ripping me off. Companies that can make a good profit while simultaneously providing a good value on the services and products they're providing. I'm not advocating for getting ripped off, but I really don't like supporting business models, even if it's to my advantage in the short term, that don't profit, because you're going to pay for it in another way in the long term. Whether it is, again, eventually, if we encourage this, there being actual shortages of homes in the market and all the homes being available at an insane price, or dealing with, you know, again, several of the repair shops that I'm referring to in this business, by the way, are out of business. They went out of business in 2015, and sadly, some of the competing repair shops nearby also went out of business because they had their customers. All the customers were going to the cheap person who was running the Groupon. So they squeezed out the one next to them, but they also squeezed out themselves. Because surprise, surprise, one of my best friends, Jake, his late mother, you know, God rest her soul, from Tennessee, used to say, "If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense." And, you know, I think that applies here. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. If you're not able to make a net profit, you're not going to pay your rent, you're not going to pay your employees, you're not going to pay your parts vendor, and it's all going to come crashing down. And at some point, when it comes crashing down, if everything else in the area also came crashing down because they couldn't compete with you, then everybody winds up being screwed. I'm very, very happy back in the day that I did not run a Groupon. Again, when I first did this video in October of 2012, this channel had something like 0 subscribers, like legitimately 0 subscribers. At some point around 2013, I noticed I was getting like 1 or 2 subscribers a day, and I was happier than a pig in shit. But back then, nobody knew who I was. I think I had like, I was working doing most of the repairs myself with one receptionist in the front and one part-time assistant that came in from time to time to help me at the time I did this video. And, you know, I just stuck to my guns. Everybody else is losing their mind, deciding, I don't care if I make any money. I just want to get as much attention right now. I want to get as many people in the door right now. I don't care if I have to whore myself out to do it. And a lot of those places are gone. They fucked themselves. Like, I thought that my model would be more successful in the long term, but I really never envisioned that it would, you know, grow to 12 employees or 1.6 million subscribers or anything like that. But the tortoise typically in the long run winds up beating the rabbit. You know, you don't have to have a business model where you just bleed out the ass in the beginning so that later on you can make money. You know, and this is something that I actually discussed while I was having negotiations with my landlord. You know, they're very nice people. Actually, again, compared to 99% of landlords in New York City, they are really nice people. Again, I had an issue with one board member we talked about last year. But for the most part, these are really, really nice people. And one of them had said, you know, when it comes to this, you know, debt can be an investment in something. You know, you should consider how to handle debt in a business. And, you know, you should be open to incorporating debt into your business if you can make money in the long term. And at some point, debt may be useful to you. But hemorrhaging out money in the beginning in the hopes that later on you'll make something, that's not a good model. Like, you know, let me buy an ultrasonic cleaner this month instead of live in a nice apartment so that next month I can make money off repairs. That's a good investment. But let me give a 90% discount to everybody who shows up right now so that hopefully I have customers in the future. Or let me buy up as many houses as humanly possible at 10 to 30% over the asking price so that nobody else can buy a home, just so that we have greater inventory so that hopefully we can leverage it later. I don't like these business models. I don't encourage those business models. I don't want to take part in those business models. And hopefully the people that watch this don't do that either. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video.
Because he said he was better than you.